What is going on YouTube? Just helping you out here. And in this video we are going to be building the mission models contained in bag 7 for the FLL RePLAY 2020-2021 game. In this bag we have the treadmill, the light tire flip, and the heavy tire flip. We are first going to start with the treadmill. And you will be needing this single bag labeled number 7, these 2 wheels, this tire, and 3 of the extra piece bags, the one that contains this tire rim, this one that contains all of the size 15 black beams, and this one that contains all of those extra beam pieces. So first up, you are going to be needing one of these black square pieces and 4 black friction pins. And what you are going to do is you are going to take those 4 pins and insert them into the 4 holes in the sides of this black piece. Just like that. And now you are going to take 2 more of those square black pieces, and you are going to attach them to either side of these black pins. Just like that. And now you will be needing 4 little black gears and 2 of those size 11 yellow axles. And the first thing you are going to do is you are going to put one of those black gears at the very end of each of these yellow axles. And you want to make sure that the axle is flush with the other side of the gears, just like this, and you should have 2 identical pieces that look like this. And now you are going to take these yellow axles and you are going to insert them into these 2 holes right here, at the top of those black squares on the 2 end ones. Just like that, and then you are going to take the other 2 black gears and put them on the other side of those axles. So it should look just like this. Just make sure you don't tighten these down too hard so that they are still free to spin. And now you'll be needing 2 black friction pins and 1 of the gray non-friction pins. And you are going to insert one of the black friction pins in the top hole of the side on both ends. So one right here and one right there, and then you are going to take the gray non-friction pin and insert it in this top center hole right here, but from behind. So it should look just like this. And now you can set this piece aside. And now you'll be needing one of these size 3 beams with an axle piece on top, one of those small black gears, and one of those tan pieces that is mostly axle. And what you are going to do is you are going to take that tan axle and insert it through this hole right here. And then you are going to cap the other side with this little black gear. Again, just make sure that you don't tighten this gear down too much so it is still free to spin. And it should look just like this. And now you will be needing one of those white axle pieces and 1 size 8 axle. And you are going to take that white axle piece and you're going to put it on the leftover end of that tan axle. And then you are going to insert this black axle into the other end of that white axle piece. So it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing 2 of those yellow axle pieces and a worm gear. And you are going to take one of these yellow axle pieces and put it on that axle and make sure that you slide it all the way down to the white axle piece. And then you are going to take the worm gear and slide that down the axle all the way to the yellow piece, and then you are going to put the other yellow piece on there. So it should look just like this. And now you will need another little black gear, and you are going to slide that onto the end of the axle so it is touching the yellow piece. Just like that. And now you are going to grab that piece I told you to set aside earlier. And now you want to take this black pin sticking out here and insert it into this end hole on that size 3 beam right there. Just like this. So it should look just like this, and all of your gears should be in contact. And now you'll be needing another one of these size 3 beams with an axle piece on top. And now you are going to take that piece and you are going to slide it over this axle and snap the other hole into this pin. Just like that. Just make sure that both of these axle pieces are faced up. And now you will be needing 3 of those black pieces that are mostly axle and part pin, 1 of those long blue pins, 2 of those size 2 blue beams that have a beam hole and axle hole, and 1 size 15 black beam. And first you are going to take one of those size 2 blue beams and you're going to insert the long side of the blue pin into the beam hole. just like that, and then you're going to take the axle part of one of these black pieces and put it all the way through the axle hole. So just like this, and now you are going to take the other blue beam and put that on top of the last one. Just like that, and now you are going to insert this into the two end holes of that black beam. Just make sure that the black pin goes into the end hole. And it should look just like this. So now you are going to take this piece and you are just going to lay it in here, just like this. And now you're going to take the axle part of these black pieces and you're going to stick them from behind in the hole right here and the hole right here, so it goes through the beam and into these axle pieces right here. So just like this. And it should look just like this. And now you're going to need one of those small red axles, two of those yellow axle pieces, and one of those gray pieces with an axle hole and a beam hole. And what you are going to do is you're going to take that small red axle and put it in the axle hole of that gray piece, and then you are going to take those yellow axle pieces and slide them on the remaining end of that red axle. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to attach that beam hole to this gray piece right here. Just like that. And now you are going to need one of those gray L's, one of those long blue pins, one black friction pin, and one of those blue pieces with part axle and part pin. And what you are going to do is you're going to put the axle part of this blue piece into the axle hole. And then you are going to leave a one hole gap and insert the black pin right here. And then you are going to insert the long blue pin short side in into this end hole right here. So the part should look just like this. And now you are going to attach this L into this hole, and that hole down there, just like this. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing one black friction pin, and you are going to insert that into this hole right here. Just like that. And now you'll be needing two of those black squares, two black friction pins, and one of those H's. And what you are going to do is you're going to insert the H into one of the sides of one of those square black pieces, and then you are going to attach this black square piece onto the other side of that H. And finally you're going to take those two black friction pins and put them in these two side holes on that black square. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to take these two black friction pins and insert them into these two side holes of that black square. Just like that. And now you'll be needing 8 of these cylindrical bricks. And you are going to slide these bottom down onto these two axles right here. 4 on each axle. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing 2 of these cylindrical bricks and 2 of these rings with a smooth top. And now you're going to take those flat rings and you're just going to stack them on top of those gray cylindrical pieces, just like that. And you are going to need to do that twice. So you should have 2 identical pieces that look like this. And now you are going to slide each of those onto these 2 axles. So that should look just like this. And now you can set this piece aside. And now you'll be needing one of these size 7 gray beams, one of those L's, and one of those long blue pins. And what you are going to need to do is insert that axle into the axle hole of the L. Just make sure that it is flush with the other side of the L. And then you are going to insert this long blue pin, short side in, into the corner hole right here. So the piece should look just like this. And now you are going to need 2 more of those L's, and you are going to stack them on top of this L. So you're going to slide them on this axle, and then attach them to this pin. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to need a long blue pin and one of those L's, and you are going to insert that pin short ways into this hole right here. And then you are going to stack this L on top of the rest of the L's on this axle and then right through that pin. So just like this. And now you'll be needing another L and another long blue pin. And you are first going to stack this L on top of the other ones. And then you are going to insert that blue pin short ways into this corner hole right here. So just like that. And now you'll be needing 2 more L's, and you are going to stack both of those on top of the other ones. So your final piece should look just like this. And now you are going to need 1 long blue pin, and you are going to insert it short ways into this end hole right here. Just like that. And now you are going to grab this piece I told you to set aside earlier, and you are going to insert this black pin right here into this end hole right here on the piece you just made. So just like this. And it should look just like that. And now you'll be needing 1 size 15 black beam, and you are going to attach the end hole to this black pin right here and put it across these other 2 pins. And it should look just like this. And now you are going to need 3 black friction pins. You're going to leave a 1-hole gap after this blue pin and insert one right here. And then you are going to leave a 3-hole gap and insert another one, so right here. And now you are going to leave a 1-hole gap and insert one right here. Just like that. And now you'll be needing 2 of these gray L's. And you are going to attach these such that the axle goes through this end hole, one of the pins you just put in goes in this corner hole, and the other pin you just put in goes in the hole next to the axle hole. So just like this. And same thing with the other one. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to need 4 of those gray pieces with an axle hole and a beam hole, and 2 of those black pieces that have a long axle section and a pin section. And what you are going to do is stick the axle part of one of these black pieces through the axle hole of one of those gray pieces all the way to this pin stopper, and then you are going to take another gray piece and put it right next to that one. Just make sure both gray pieces are in the same orientation as you see it right here. And you will need to make 2 of these. So you should have 2 identical pieces that look just like this. And now what you are going to do is you are going to attach this black pin into this hole right here on either side. Just make sure when you do that, these gray pieces are facing away from the rest of the part. And now on the other side, and it should look just like this. And now you are going to need 3 black friction pins, and you are going to insert those into the following holes. 1 in the end of this gray piece, 1 in the end of this gray piece, and 1 right in the middle on this hole in the H. Just like that. And now you are going to take a size 13 blue beam, and you are going to put it across these 3 black pins. Just like that. And now you are going to need 2 black friction pins and 1 size 9 white beam. And you are going to insert those 2 black friction pins into the 2 top holes right here. And now you are going to take that size 9 white beam and center it across these 3 pins. So you should have 1 hole left over on either side. And it should look just like this. And now you are going to need 2 of these pieces that are mostly pin and have a beam hole in the middle. And you are going to insert those in the 2 leftover holes on the ends right here. Just like that. And you want to make sure that both holes on these are faced in the same direction, so in this case they are facing horizontally. And now you can set this whole piece aside. And now you'll be needing 2 of these white pieces with beam holes and axle holes, and 1 size 5 yellow axle. And what you are going to do is you're going to insert that yellow axle into one of the axle holes of that white piece. Just make sure that the axle is flush with the other side of that white piece, just like that. And then you are going to slide the other white piece onto that axle in the same orientation as the first one so that they stack, and it should look just like this. And now you are going to need two of these pieces with two beam holes and an axle hole. And what you are going to do is you're going to insert this yellow axle into both of those axle holes. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing two black friction pins and two of those white pieces with beam holes and axle holes. And what you are going to do first is insert those black friction pins into the two center holes right here. So just like that. And now you are going to take both of these white pieces and put them on those two black friction pins you just put in. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing one of those gray pieces with a beam hole and axle hole, one size 3 gray axle, and one of those 180-degree elbows. And what you are going to do first is insert this axle into the axle hole of the gray piece. Just like that. And now you are going to insert that axle into this axle hole right here. Just make sure when you do that, all three of these holes are in the same orientation. And now you are going to take this 180-degree elbow and put it on the other side of that gray axle. Again, make sure this hole is in the same orientation as the other three. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing another size 3 gray axle and two of those white pieces that have axle holes and beam holes. And the first thing you are going to do is insert that gray axle into the other end of this 180-degree elbow. Just like that. And now you are going to take this yellow axle and this gray axle and insert both of those into the two end axle holes of these white pieces. Just like that. And now you'll be needing one of those gray pieces with an axle hole and beam hole, one of those gray gears, and one of those black pieces that is mostly axle and also has a pin section. And the first thing you are going to do is cap off the other side of the gray axle with the axle hole of this gray piece. Again, make sure all these holes are in the same orientation, just like this. And now you are going to take the axle part of this black piece and put it straight through this middle hole in that 180-degree elbow. And then you are going to cap off the other side with this gear. So it should look just like this. Just make sure that you don't tighten the gear down too much so that it is still free to spin. And now you can set this piece aside. And now you are going to need two of those white elbows and one small red axle. And what you are going to do is insert that red axle into one end of one of those white elbows, and then you are going to cap off the other side with the other elbow, just like this, making sure that these two holes are in the same orientation, and the other sides of these two elbows should be pointing in these directions, just as you see it. And now you'll be needing two more of those white elbows and two more of those small red axles. And the first thing you are going to do is put one of those red axles in each of the leftover ends of that piece you already made. So just like that. And then you are going to cap off those ends of the red axles with those two white elbows. Again, make sure all of the holes are in the same orientation, and make sure that the other ends of these two elbows are both faced down. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing yet another two small red axles and two of those white elbows. And you are essentially going to do the same thing as the previous step, put those red axles in the leftover ends of those white elbows, and then attach the white elbows to the other side of those red axles. So it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing two of these white pieces with a beam hole and axle hole, and two small red axles. And now you are going to insert those red axles into the other ends of these white elbows. Just like that. And now you are going to insert these red axles into the axle hole of these white pieces. Just make sure that it looks just like this so that these two white pieces are facing inward to this loop. And now you are going to need 6 of these small gray pins, and you are going to insert those gray pins long ways into every hole you see here except for these top 2 holes. So it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing one of each of the colored studs you see here. You should have one that's green, one that's light green, one that's white, one that's black, one that's red, and one that's gray. And now you are going to attach those to the 6 pins that you just put in. Just make sure that you put them in the exact color order that I show you right here. That is very important. We will start with the red one, and that is going to go right here. And now the gray one will go right here. The black one will go right here. The white one will go right here. The dark green one will go right here. And finally the light green one will go right here. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to pick up this piece I told you to set aside earlier. And now you'll be needing 2 of these tan pieces that is mostly axle. And now what you are going to do is you're going to take this ring you just made and set it right over this piece so that these 2 holes align on both parts, and then you're going to take the axle of those tan pieces and slide that through to connect them. So it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing 1 yellow and 1 orange stud. And you are going to put the orange stud on this tan pin right here. And then you are going to put the yellow one on the leftover tan pin. So it should look just like this. And now you are going to grab this piece I told you to set aside earlier. And now you are going to attach this hole and this hole to these 2 gray pins right here. Just like that, so your gray gear and the worm gear should be aligned. And it should look just like this. And now you will be needing one of those size 2 beams with a beam hole and axle hole, 1 small red axle, and 1 of those gray fin pieces. And what you are going to do is take that red axle and put it in the axle hole of that size 2 beam. Just make sure that the axle is flush with the other side of that beam, and then you are going to cap that off with this fin piece. And it should look just like this. And now you are going to take that black friction pin and insert it into this beam hole on the piece you just made. Just like that. This is now the completed treadmill, and I am going to set it aside. Now we are going to build the heavy tire flip. First up, you are going to be needing this tire and this wheel rim, and you are going to put the wheel rim in the tire. And it should look just like this on both sides. And now you are going to need 2 of these white pinwheels and 1 size 4 red axle. And what you are going to do is insert that red axle into the center hole of one of those pinwheels. Just make sure the axle is flush with the other side, and then you are going to slide the other pinwheel down that axle until it is touching the other white pinwheel. So it should look just like this. And you are going to take that red axle and you are going to insert it into the center axle hole of this wheel. Just like that. And now you are going to need 2 green pinwheels. And now you are going to flip this over, and you're going to put the green pinwheels on the other side of this red axle. Just like that. This is now the completed heavy tire flip, so I'm also going to set this aside. And finally, we can get started on the light tire flip. First up, you'll be needing one of those white pinwheels and a size 4 red axle. And you are going to insert that red axle into the center axle hole of that white pinwheel. Again, making sure that the axle is flush with the other side of that pinwheel. And it should look just like this. And now you'll be needing these 2 wheels. And you are going to insert this red axle into the center axle hole of both of these wheels. So just like this. And it should look just like this. and now you are going to need this green pinwheel, and you are going to put that on the other side of this red axle. It should look just like this, and this is now the completed light tire flip. Alright, so here we have the treadmill, the heavy tire flip, and the light tire flip, and those are the 3 models contained in bag 7. So that's about it for this video. Feel free to check out all our other LEGO videos in the playlist in the top left corner. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, leave a comment if you have any questions or an idea for a future video, and lastly, please don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about my channel so I can grow and help more of you guys out. I'm just helping you out. See you in the next video.